Hello and welcome to Picture This Thought. Today's picture is this photo of the Statue of Liberty that I took on a trip to New York once. It's a great symbol of freedom, isn't it? And of course yesterday was the 4th of July, on which Americans celebrate independence from British rule. I wonder what comes to your mind when I say the word freedom. Maybe it's a picture of Mel Gibson dressed as Braveheart, or maybe you think of political freedom. Freedom from oppression. Perhaps you think of freedom of thought and speech. Perhaps your idea of freedom is the ability to get on with your life without anyone telling you what to do. Perhaps you think of freedom of religion. What about freedom of movement, where people can go wherever they want, whenever they want? There are all sorts of ways that we can be free. But I wonder whether we're really as free as we think. This current pandemic is restricting our freedom in ways that we hadn't anticipated. We've had our freedom of movement curtailed, where we've had to stay inside our houses. We haven't been free to see family and friends. And of course, many people have seen severe restrictions on their freedoms. Their freedom to work and earn money for themselves and their families, for instance. Of course, there are many barriers to freedoms in this world. Some people live with great political restrictions when they live in oppressive regimes. Some people's freedom is massively restricted by health problems. Some people have very little freedom of choice and opportunity because of the poverty that they live in. For some people, social barriers are a huge limiter to freedom. They may face sexism or racism on a daily basis. But of course, there are good restrictions to our freedom as well. We all face legal restrictions to the things that we can do and say for the sake of other people. And many of us take on responsibilities which limit our freedoms so that we can respect and honour the rights of others. So what does life-giving freedom look like? Well, to be honest, even when we think we're free to do whatever we want, are we really? Often we find that we don't do the things that we want to do. I want to do more exercise, but getting myself to do it is another thing. It may be that we want to eat less chocolate, or we want to be better parents. It seems like we often find that we're not even free to meet our own expectations. So this brings me back to what is true freedom? Well, the freedom that Jesus brings is the freedom to live according to God's blueprint for life. Jesus brings a freedom from slavery to self-destruction that manifests itself in various thought patterns and behaviours. He brings freedom from condemnation and a freedom to love one another and God. And ultimately, he brings freedom from death itself. The Bible says, if the Son, that's Jesus, sets you free, then you're free indeed. True freedom is living life as God designed it and allowing him to mould and shape and change us into the people that he wants us to be. Where we're powerless to help ourselves, he can help us to live the life that we were always meant to live, so that we can enjoy abundance and fullness and fruitfulness as human beings. So that's today's thought. Let me pray. Lord, thank you that in you is real freedom. Freedom from what other people think about us, freedom from condemnation and all the things that we've done wrong and the messes that we get ourselves into. Freedom from self-condemnation. Lord, thank you that you forgive us and that you set us on the path of life. And thank you that you don't expect us to behave ourselves in our own strength. We can't do that. But thank you that you put your spirit in us, so that we can truly flourish as the people that you've created us to be. Amen. That's today's Picture This Thought. Do join me again for more.